this video, we are going to see how to run a difference in difference regression. For this, we have data for two hospitals, Hospital 1 and Hospital 2. And we have data for these hospitals from January to July, so from month 1 to 7. And the difference is that in Hospital 1, there was a new admissions procedure applied from April. What we want to know is whether this new admissions procedure had a statistically significant impact on the patient satisfaction score for that hospital. So the first thing that we are going to do is to calculate, is to see graphically whether we can find that impact. This is to see if there is actually any reason to do some research, to use regression, so this is difference in difference methodology to analyze it more formally. So for this, what we are going to plot is the average patient satisfaction score per month. Okay, so how can we do this? So there are two ways in which we can calculate the average patient score per month per hospital. So let's put here average 1 for the first way and average 2. So both of them are going to give us exactly the same average, okay? So I'm going to do it for Hospital 1 and April, okay? But you could do it for the rest, and later on I'll show you the average patient scores for each month per hospital, guys. So if I want to calculate the average patient satisfaction score for Hospital 1 in April, then I would say the first way is I would say equal to average, and I'll just select the patient satisfaction score for the whole month of April, for the different patients for the whole month of April for Hospital 1, and click OK. And the second way of calculating this same average is using average if. So because we have data for Hospital 1 and obviously then Hospital 2, so we'll have to do this for both hospitals. But from January to July, then we can say, well, calculate the average for April, for just April, for the patient satisfaction score. First, we select the range of the condition, and this is the month. So in this case, we select all the months for Hospital 1. Because remember, we have to calculate separate average patient score per month per hospital. Then we say the criteria. So this will be equal to 4, and then use this condition to calculate the average patient satisfaction score. And now we select the variable we want the average calculated on. Sorry, I keep passing it. Okay. So it will be just for Hospital 1, remember, in this case, and then we can do it for Hospital 2. And you see it returns exactly the same average. So obviously then you will have to do it for January, so month will be equal to 1. February, so if we want to do it for example, January, we can copy the formula and just change the month. And then we'll have it for January, February, March, and so on. And then we can do the same, but for hospital. So basically what you will have to do is a different selection. So the selection will be from the 186 to the end of the observation range and so on. Now, once you have calculated the average per hospital per month, you should have something like that. So this should be the average patient score for January for Hospital 1, for February for Hospital 1. This one should be average patient score for January for Hospital 2, and so on. Now we can do the graph. So if we select these two variables and we go to insert graphs, and we select this one, so ideally you want the month in the, so by default it's actually giving us the month in the horizontal axis and the patient score in the vertical axis. This is exactly what we want, okay? Now let me turn this a little bit so we can see it more clearly. So if we go to no format, to format axis, can you see the months go actually from 1 to 7? So let's just put here from 1 to 7. And the patient scores go from 0, from the start from, let's say, we start from 3, but let's say from 2.5, okay? So we don't have all this part of the graph here, and we can see more clearly the change in the patient satisfaction score. Now, we can also add access titles and a legend, and in the access titles, we can put here, this is month, and this is average patient satisfaction score. Let's just say average score. Right, now if we go to select data, we can here edit and say that this series is called Hospital 1. Now what we have to do is to add Hospital 2. So we're going to call this Hospital 2. And in the X values, remember we want the month. And in the Y values, we want the average patient score. And now we click OK, and we have the graph for the average patient score from January to July for Hospital 1 and Hospital 2. And we actually see that when the new procedure is introduced, we can see an increase of the average patient score between the two hospitals. Now, what we are going to do now is to use, so to study whether this increase in the average patient score is statistically significant. And for this, we are going to use a difference in difference methodology. So for the difference in difference methodology, we need 3 dummy variables. One, which is going to be the treated. Basically, this dummy variable is going to be 1 for the group which is affected by the policy, which it could be taxes, subsidies, it could be anything happening that you want to analyze. In this case, the introduction of the admissions procedure. And the group which is affected by the introduction of the admissions procedure is Hospital 1, not Hospital 2. So it will be 1 if Hospital 1 equals 1 and 0 otherwise. So now you can see that this variable is going to be 1 for when hospital equals 1 and 0 when hospital equals 2. The next variable is our time control. Okay, in this case, it's going to be called policy. It's called policy in the literature for difference and difference. And this one is going to be, so this one is going to concentrate in the months. So this admissions procedure is introduced from April. Okay, so we are going to have a variable, we are going to have our time control variable in which is going to be 1 if the month is equal to April, or so it's 1 if the month is from April to July. Okay, and this is going to be the same for Hospital 1 and Hospital 2. So you are controlling for any external shocks that may happen from April also, which may be affecting the patient scores for both Hospital 1 and Hospital 2. So it will be 1 if the month is higher than March. Okay, so from April to July and 0 otherwise. So you can see that it's going to be 1 in April, 0 in February, 0 in January, 1 in July, 1 in June, and so on. And finally, our difference in difference variable. But the difference in difference variable is going to be the treated times the policy. But in reality, what is this variable telling us? This variable is giving us information. It's going to be 1, hospital equals 1, and month is April from July. So if the hospital equals 1 and the admissions procedure was introduced. See, 1 in this case, but if hospital equals 1 and the month is February 0, and it will be 0 for when hospital equals 2 and July 0, and so on. Okay, so now we are going to do our regression analysis. Our dependent variable is going to be patient satisfaction score, and we are going to introduce these 3 variables as independent variables. So we go to data, and we go to data analysis, and then we go to regression, okay? And we, in the y input, which is the dependent variable, we put the patient satisfaction score, and then in the x range, which are our independent variable or explanatory variables, we select the 3 explanatory variables we want to introduce in our model. I selected the label, so we click here, we tell Excel I have selected the label, take this into account, and I click OK. And as you can see, now we have the regression coefficients, and it gives us also the p-value. We can reduce the number of decimals if we want to the standard 3 or 2. And then this is my variable of interest for this difference in difference model. We can see that this is statistically significant, and we can see that has a statistically significant positive impact on the patient satisfaction scores. If we have more data, which could explain pre-existing differences between hospital 1 and 2, or that within the could affect the patient satisfaction score, we could also introduce it into the regression model, see how this will affect if any, the difference in difference coefficient. And also, of course, we could do some robustness checks to see whether this result is robust. Okay, so and then here the how to do a difference in difference with a sample data set.